very good.
Yeah, it's just begun. I mean, it's day 2, but also everybody knows Saturday is the crazy day, right? I love Saturdays because that's like when the best people watching. Because everybody has like the best costumes or cosplay.
So have you been like any, walk around Tampa or the
Have I been
downtown?
around Tampa? Have I?
How about like maybe take a little walk around the downtown?
We haven't really had a chance. No, I mean we went out for dinner last night. Yeah, I've just been hanging out in the hotel.
Oh, that's all? Oh.
Super exciting, right?
Yeah.
Take advantage.
Yeah, I know. I saw that they had a pool, and most pools like they close at like 10 o'clock, but there were people out there like partying it up. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I can get some sunbathing in. I'm in Florida. Have some sun on here, right? Also, apologies in advance if I'm like half sipping out of this thing. It's my life juice. I am. If anybody knows Gilmore Girls, I've like Gilmore Girls sized obsession with coffee. So while I'm drinking, I'm like, and coffee. Is cup number 2 for today? Not bad. Just number 2. Yeah.
Still single digits.
Right? Exactly. Like, give it a couple hours when I'm on cup number 4, you'll be able to. It's a different Jeannie Tirado. That's me in the booth in the mornings because studios normally open up at 10. Voice actors are so spoiled. I get to like sleep until, right? And I'm like, 10 o'clock, so early in the morning. But I'll have my coffee and then like as the session goes on, it's like, Jeannie's like, hey, good morning. Hey, good morning. All right, let's do this thing.
Oh, God.
Like, just give it time. They're like, Jeannie,
Caffeine
how much coffee have you had?
rush. Too
Yeah,
much.
exactly. And they have like these legit Starbucks machines at Funimation.
Uh-oh.
There's, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
There are,
The rush.
you get,
Here comes the rush.
again, voice acting, we get spoiled. I mean, it depends on the studios. There's this one studio in LA that they always have this bakery and it's like fresh baked goods
Ooh.
every day. And then they have like a catering company. Every day they bring in like a different like catered dish. They have an entire kitchen and it's like, yeah, sure, raid the kitchen. And then if you don't want any of those things, you can open up the fridge and in the freezer it's like every ice cream you can think of. And I'm like, this
Sugar
is
rush.
really good for voice acting. Like, you're not supposed to be having cold dairy.
Oh, God. Sugar
Am
rush.
I gonna have it though? Yes.
What the heck?
Because it's there.
It's
I think
free.
they do it more to impress because it's LA. So like, I remember I was leaving a session and Chris Pine was walking in, and I'm like, oh, it's people like that. That's the reason they got like the fancy ice cream. No, that's why.
Yeah, have you been to for the pink hot dog? The pink?
I haven't. No.
That's one of the more famous in LA.
Ah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yes, a whole bunch of celebrities always be there.
Gotcha. Well, I'm like fairly new to LA still, so
Okay.
I'm finding stuff near me, and I'm like I have my little circle, and then I'm slowly
Yeah.
like branching out. But God, there's so many like food places.
Oh, yeah, pink is more famous.
I'm gonna have to try all of them. I have a list that I'm obsessed. Like, there's more to me than voice acting. So that's another thing. Let me say, we have like a minute before we officially begin. Yeah, right. If you want to ask me questions, it doesn't have to be just about voice acting. Like, I'm a person. I think it's very, very important as an actor in this business to have things that have nothing to do with acting that you enjoy and that help keep your sanity. So I am obsessed with the Food Network. If you ask me any questions about Bobby Flay, I love my Bobby Flay. And I'm such a geek about it too. Like, I follow him, Alex Garnish, like all the Iron Chefs. I follow them on Instagram, which it's stupid because it's just pictures of food that I can't eat. It's like expensive, fancy foods. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to try that. I'm never gonna, like, when am I ever gonna be at the restaurant Butter in New York City to have their, famous Wagyu beef tartare? Never. I'll enjoy the pictures. though, and dream of what it tastes like. All right. Okay, it's officially 12. I will, let me really quickly, since we have an hour together, I will give you a little bit of background, just kind of chronology. Okay, this is when I need more coffee. See, that's when I know, and take another sip. Of how I got from where I started to now, and then if you have any questions, and it can, again, doesn't just have to be about voice acting, and it can also be about different roles, but then also like, how do you tackle accent work? How do you tackle like more physical things, you know? Physical, like if you're voicing like a fight scene or something. Like it can be absolutely anything. I'm here for you guys. I always say this on my Twitter and my Instagram. I want to be, and also the Anime Unlocked, if you guys are on that app. I always say I want to be a resource to people. So if there's anything that I can answer any questions about, like you can pick apart my brain. Yeah. Okay. Watching too much Tokyo Ghoul, I'm thinking of like different direction. Don't pick it apart that way. Okay. All right. Welcome. Okay. Hi. My name is Jeannie Tirado. I am a voice actor. I do anime. Most of my anime roles are at Funimation. There are a couple things coming out that I cannot announce yet, but hopefully soon we'll be announcing this year. But I do all kinds of voiceover work. So whereas there are people here that only do anime voiceover, but then they also do writing and directing and all that stuff. For me, I just do voice acting, but not just anime. I do commercials, industrials, which are, it's mainly like in-house things. Like, for example, for Pepsi, when they have their board of director meetings, they'll have these PowerPoints, and there's a voiceover of, "Welcome to Pepsi. In Latin America, this is how," and they have me do a British accent because apparently it sounds smarter if you have a British accent. So like, it's like internal videos. Like nobody outside of the company is gonna see it. So those are called industrials. So that's voiceover as well. Audiobooks. And then of course animation, which could be anime or video games, or prelay, which is a fancy term for it hasn't already been animated. So if you're doing Western animation, any kind of like Cartoon Network stuff, you're gonna voice the character and then they're gonna animate to your voice. So it's prelayed. What else kind of voice acting? Yeah, there's a lot of different facets of voice acting, and because I came from it having an agent, then I do all that other fun stuff, not just the anime. All right, a little bit about me. I am born and raised in Orlando, Florida, not far from here, which is great because I was able to like visit my family and come back to Florida. I know it's been a long time since I've been back in Florida. My degree is in voice. I studied music, actually, so I studied opera. Did not plan on going into voice acting, but then I realized as much as I love opera, I don't love it enough to really pursue it as a career. I was like, well, what do I love? What brings me joy when I'm stressed out and I need to find my center, find who I am? And it was always Orlando, Florida, Disney. It was Disney, it was cartoons, it was any kind of animated things. And whereas before, I thought, oh, I want to do singing because when I watch this, I want to sing the way they sing. You know, when I see Little Mermaid, I want to sing the way Jodie Benson sings. But then I realized, wait, Jeannie, you're not just singing, you're also saying the lines as well. Like, I just don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be bad. Not just the singing, but the lines. So then I was like, okay, maybe I want to be the voice of a Disney princess, not just singing, but like speaking. Made my first demo in my college dorm room while I would text my roommate and be like, hey, can you give me a half hour? So she'd be out of the room, and I recorded and then moved back to Orlando, found an agent, but in Orlando, which people say, oh, the theme parks are here, you can probably do all the stuff. None of that's actually recorded here. It's all recorded in LA. So I got an agent, but they only did commercial work. So I actually got into voiceover doing commercials rather than anything animated. Realized as much as I love commercials, I want to do character work. I want to like do the actual like fun stuff. But you can't really do that. And if you want to get into voiceover, you have to go where the studios are. You have to go where the work is. And that was either California, New York, or Dallas. Being as realistic as I am, because you have to make ends meet, I put in for a job in those 3 cities. Whichever place I got a job in first, I would move there. Got Dallas, Texas. So I moved to Dallas, Texas about 4 or 5 years ago. And I did not get straight into voiceover. Just so you guys know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a happy accident. I fell into voice acting. Not my story whatsoever. I worked night and day. For 2 years, I worked an overnight job, working 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then I would take acting classes during the day and then sleep somewhere in between. So it was sacrifice, and I was living by myself in a city that I didn't know anybody really. But I knew that I wanted to do voice acting, and I was going to. I remember when I first moved out there, my brother, which is actually, he's right here, supporting his baby sister. His one question that he asked me, and I will ask everybody, if you say you want to do voice acting, he asked me this, and I'd ask anybody, are you in it for the long haul? Are you in it if 5 years in you have not voiced a single character? Are you still in it to work and to sacrifice for this thing? And I told him yes. So I knew I'm not going to go back on that. I'm also really stubborn. So I finally, after 2 years, was taking acting classes, got referenced to an agent who didn't sign me at first. But then eventually they looked more into my crafts in the classes that I was taking, got signed on, and started booking commercials before I ever did any animation, because again, I came from the commercial world. So I was doing AT&T, Cricket Wireless, those kind of things before I ever did anime. First animation role that I booked was for a video game called Smite, recorded at Okatron, which is where they record Dragon Ball Z. Even though it's weird, even though it's a Funimation title, it's not recorded at the Funimation building. It's recorded at another studio called Okatron, owned by Chris Sabat. If you know who he is, he's the voice of Vegeta. But I recorded there, and then, much like how it happens in the voiceover world, you do a good job at one studio, and then people start talking. So they asked me, have you worked at Funimation before? I was like, no, I'd love to. I was a fan myself. I grew up watching, I watched Soul Eater, I watched Tokyo Ghoul, I watched all those animes before I even, started voicing it myself. So that's how they referred me into Funimation. And fast forward to 3 years past that, and now it's my full-time job. I was able to leave, whereas you have other jobs to kind of offset income and all that stuff. Now I get to do this for a living, which is great. And then I just recently moved from Dallas to LA, so now I'm still doing Dallas stuff, but then I've also added on LA stuff, which is great. A lot of things I can't announce, but I am able to say I was just recently able to work on Just Cause 4, video game coming out that I'm really excited about. Okay, so that brings me to now. I'm here at Metrocon, which is crazy because I actually came to this con 10 years ago because of a guy. Of course, the boy-crazed fangirl that I am. There was a guy that I had a massive crush on, and I didn't know anime, but he knew anime, so I'm like, I'm gonna get into anime. So yeah, the first anime that I watched was Inuyasha, because he liked Inuyasha. And I was like, this guy's really, the main character is really whiny. But what? Exactly, yeah. Totally tried to, I was like, I can pull off Kagome. Yeah, if he likes, I'll be Kagome. Yeah, and then Fruits Basket was one of the first ones as well. Laura Bailey, come on, so good, amazing. Yeah, so that's me. Now I shall open up to any questions. I know I gave a fast version. Let me know if you need any clarification on any of that. Yes.
What are some of your favorite cartoons, period? Were there any childhood stuff Disney Afternoon? They don't have to be anime. They can be pretty much anything from Cartoon Network, Disney. What are some of your favorites?
Yeah, oh my gosh, one Saturday morning, if you guys remember that, like, oh yeah, Recess and Hey Arnold and Rugrats, all those, like, I feel so blessed to have been a child in the 90s, because we really had that, like, what do they call it, like a Disney Renaissance? Like, it was a time of, like, man, even now, I feel like they're just making sequels because they're trying to get back to that era where things were so good. I remember, oh, it's a dream of mine to be able to voice this. Like, I still remember the voice performances from the animated Spider-Man series. There was, what was it? It was like Mary Jane got like powers accidentally, and I still remember her voice performance. Like, I'm like, oh, I just want to voice that. It's so great. And now, like, there are still shows that, like, how they're redoing Voltron. It's one of my favorite shows.
And DuckTales?
Yeah, and DuckTales. Oh my gosh. They got some good actors on that stuff. And if you notice, like, a lot of those shows that they're coming out with now, they're not like technically voice actors. They're like on camera actors. They're just good at, and it goes to show, like, voice acting is just like regular acting. Acting is acting. Hi, welcome. Yeah, it's just good acting all around. And when you hear those good performances, man, it gets me fired up. Like, if you, not just like the blood curdling, but if you hear like a good blood curdling scream, that's reasons why I like anime. Good question. Yeah, yes.
So a lot of people are saying that cartoons nowadays are starting to be just as good, if not better, than they were, like, say, in the 90s or early 2000s. And a lot of shows like Gravity Falls, Steven Universe that are really, really big.
Yeah,
so what are your favorite modern cartoons?
Definitely, well, as I was saying, like, Voltron is one of them. Adventure Time, love it. Bob's Burgers, anybody at Bob's Burgers?
Yes.
Oh man, and stuff with those shows, like, they don't need to rely on any like crude humor. And it's just like good acting, good animation, good storylines, and they're freaking hilarious. Yeah, and there are shows that I definitely need to get more into. Like, I've heard, like, Steven Universe is on my list.
So good.
Yeah, and there's like I heard there's a lot of singing in it too.
Oh yeah, tons. The whole soundtrack's on Spotify.
Oh, I love that. That's like that is my jam. Since my degree is in music, my mom, not that my mother doesn't support me, but she's like, it's great that you do voiceover stuff. When are you gonna actually sing? Like, and I'm like, I know, I paid a lot of money for my degree, and it's collecting dust right now, but I will get to the singing part. Trust me, Mom, eventually. Yeah, what about you guys? What are your favorites right now in the whole animation world? Anime or non? It can be anything.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things? Oh, yeah.
I love that show.
I'm with you. Voltron is one of my favorite new ones. Like, I never even heard of I've heard of Voltron, but I never actually touched anything until I saw that. And
Yeah.
I saw it was animated from the same studio that made Avatar.
Yes, Avatar, that's another one. So good.
And once I knew that, once I saw the style, it's like, I recognize that style. And I was wondering if the characters are just as good. They were just as likable. Like,
Yeah.
the cast is so well developed. I also love the new DuckTales reboot.
Yeah.
They recently just reintroduced the Tailspin villain Don Carnage back into the DuckTales universe. And the last episode actually had a Gummy Bears reference with the gummy berry juice.
Yeah.
I love the new DuckTales, and I really need to like catch up with that because they are just doing amazing things with it.
So
And
good.
I think David Tennant is a wonderful Scrooge McDuck.
He's just an amazing actor. Like, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and from Doctor Who, like, he is my doctor. It's just good acting all around. I love it. That reminds me even, like, there are shows that it's like, don't knock it till you try it. Like, even the, not that I am a Broly or I don't know the terms, but like, it was on Netflix, so I'm like, sure, let me watch my favorite pony. I was like, this is hilarious. This is really enjoyable. My favorite cartoon, actually, of all time, most people haven't seen it. It's like a Canadian, founded on Netflix, animated series called Ruby Gloom. If you haven't seen it, you should totally see it. Yeah, like, never heard of it. It was just, hi, welcome guys. She is the most cheerful girl in the gloomiest world. So it's like all kind of that Hotel Transylvania feel where everything's kind of Halloween-y and gothic-y, and she looks totally goth, but she's so like, guys, chin up, like look on the bright side of the dark side. I love it. And also, since it's Canadian, everybody is super Canadian. So everybody is so kind on the show. Like they'll button and be like, oh, sorry. You guys are adorable. They're cute little, like they say like, about that. Oh, I love it. Yeah, Ruby Bloom, if you haven't seen.
Yeah, you ever like go to like for the drive-through and do your character voice?
Sorry, I got distracted by the Android 21 cosplay. I love it. Do I ever do voices? Yes, there have been times where I've gone through a drive-through or two, and you put on voice, more so than the drive-through, on phone calls. I will try out new characters on phone calls. And it'll depend. Like if there's a phone call where like, I'm really trying to butter them up, I'm like, can you help me with something? I'm gonna do my best, like, girl next door voice. You wanna help me out? But then there are calls when it's like, okay, I've been dealing with these guys for forever, and I'll get like super Latina, like super quick. I'm like, it comes out. Like, it's funny, my roommates, I'm roommates with, I just moved out, but I was roommates with voice actors, Sarah Wiedenheft, who's in Katana Maidens with me, and then also Natalie Hoover. And I've scared them on the phone. Like there are times where they're like, because if you've met them, Sarah is literally like 4'10", this tiny little thing, and she has like this cute little kid voice. And then even worse than that, Natalie Hoover, her voice is literally like this, like it's super breathy and super light. So when they're on the phone, they're like, I have a problem. There's gonna be some, and I'm like, hand me the phone. Yeah, so the people be like, because they're not getting any way, and then I'll get on the phone and be like, hi, I'm gonna speak to your manager. Not that I need to, I'm going to. Like, I will, and they'll be in the back and they're like, gee, okay, leave her alone, let her work this out. Yeah, so I'll definitely try out different characters, and also it helps, like, even voicing, like for Katana Maidens, my character is very stoic and very like, this is what I'm gonna do, and you're not gonna stop me from it. This is the decision that I've made. And being able to like empower yourself and take those moments where this situation is gonna get fixed. And it, of course, it helps that it's on the phone. It's not like in person, so you kind of have that like, okay, because in person I'm like, hi, can you help me kind of maybe if you want? But then on the phone I'm like, okay, this is just my voice, I can be empowered. We paid for this, and unfortunately this has happened. And it's gonna be remedied. Like stuff like that. But yeah, do you guys ever do that where you like try out a voice and then it changes and that's the thing with voice acting, it changes your demeanor as well. Like it's not just with your voice. If I'm voicing a character that is like in Star Blazers, Akira Yamamoto, she's and older, she's not younger, she's definitely a woman. And she will take the horn by the bulls. She'll take, there's a point where she wants to be a pilot, and they say, you're a woman, you can't pilot. And she's like, I'm gonna steal a plane, and I'm gonna show you that I can pilot a plane. And then afterwards, they even tell her, they're like, you should apologize. She's like, I'm not gonna apologize. And when I'm in the booth, I can't help but cross my arms. And you got the like hip going, and I'm like, all right, let's voice this. Like you gotta have that kind of demeanor and get a little bit of the smirk going, because you use your entire body when you're doing voice acting. But good question. Yes.
Do you have any favorite roles that you've done so far out of like everything that all the characters shows that you've voiced so far?
Oh, I love all of that. That's like having to choose between my babies. I will have current favorites. So there's like, for a time, this character is all my jam. Akira Yamamoto, just because she is so empowered and she is that like, this is how this situation is gonna go. I just recorded an episode, and the good thing with anime, I'm not really giving too much of a spoiler because you could watch it in Japanese first and you would know anyways. But there's a spy, and no one knows who the spy is. And she straight up goes up to your character and she goes, you know I know that you're the spy, right? And the character's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she takes out a gun, she's like, say that to me again. And they straight up like, she found the spy. was like, yes, I love it. She just, yeah, so I love, hi, welcome guys. Just a quick to catch you up to speed. I gave a little chronology of how I got from where I was to where I am now. Feel free to ask me questions now. I'm just opening up if you have any questions, and it doesn't just have to be anime, it can be anything. Right now I'm talking about my favorite characters, which it's never good to have a favorite character. They're all my babies and I love them all, but right now there's a couple that I'm feeling. I loved Layla in Code Geass, just because if you've seen anything of Code Geass, it's a very political, like heavy show, and it's there's a lot of gray area. It's not all good and all bad, but Layla's like, no, it can be all good. Like, I don't want to give up hope on that. I do believe that we can find hope. We can find, even if we can't fix the world, we can fix our family dynamic and find our little piece of heaven. Yeah, and also she has a French accent. I studied French in college, so to be able to use that in a character, I love that. It's an awesome opportunity. Yeah, those are the ones I'm feeling right now. Yes, you had a question as well?
Yeah, you said you were Orlando native. I was wondering if there was any, so I was also born and raised in Orlando, so are there any like local Orlando places that you maybe miss, or?
Let me tell you, we don't have 2 J's, and that Banana Dream, before I leave, I have to have Banana Dream cake. It's so good. My favorite dessert is have you guys ever heard of a fluffernutter? Yes. It was like Elvis Presley's like favorite. But I think like a generic fluffernutter, it's like, what is it? It's banana, peanut butter, chocolate, right? And then it's like in a warm sandwich.
Yeah.
I add cinnamon to mine. It's really good. Yeah, like if you.
I'm really hungry right now.
Oh, sorry. I told you guys I love the Food Network. I will always turn everything to talking about food. I love it so much. Also, that's the other thing with Android 21. Like when we were recording for her, I would specifically not eat before. Normally I have to eat before sessions because then I will get, like some actors are like, oh, I can't eat before, I'll be burping or whatever. I'm like, no, I have to eat before because then I get nauseous. Like I need the energy. With her, I purposefully wouldn't eat before a session so that I'd be starving and I would be super hangry. So by the end I'm like, I need food now! And they're like, were we hitting record? Okay, we got it. I'm like, was that on the script? It's in the script now. And because we had a lot of freedom with that character, Okatron is so great. Even when you're doing anime, I always describe anime voice acting as acting with your hands tied behind your back, because you have to match the flaps. You try to have as much freedom as you can, but honestly, it's really, you don't have the freedom. You have to match the facial expression is already animated. The flaps are already animated, the like camera angle and everything, so you have to match all of that, but then still add the emotion and intent that would make sense to the scene. And same for Android 21. It was a little different, whereas in anime you has anyone, I don't want to make any assumptions. Do you guys know how it happens, like when you're when you're dubbing for anime, what it looks like? Like you have the 2 screens, right? So you have the screen of the script and then another screen of the picture in Japanese, like the Japanese, and so they'll preview the scene in Japanese and then you'll go back through, but say what's on the script and match the mouth flaps of the Japanese picture. Well, for video games, it's a little bit different. Because we haven't gotten over the full video, and that could be because it wasn't animated yet, or also, especially with the title like Dragon Ball, they're very close to the chest. Is that the phrase?
Yeah.
Close. Yeah, they're very close to the chest about it. So even though Dragon Ball Fighters had been animated and they had videos of the cutscenes, even the studio that's dubbing it, is not allowed to see that. Because if it got leaked, if anything, they can't risk it in Japan. So all we get for the Dragon Ball Fighter, the video game, whereas in anime you have the picture, we would have a picture of the soundbite. So we knew it took the Seiyu, it was this long to say a line, and I have that long to say the English adaptation of the script, and a lot of times it did not fit. Of course, shocker, right? So we would, but it gave us the freedom to like change the line a lot. We were like, okay, we know the intent is that you're all candy and you're all mine, but we might have to change it to, you're all candy and I want to eat, or something like that, to make it faster, shorter. Yeah, a little bit different. And then with Western video games, you have total freedom, which I love. With Smite, you're able to, however long you want to take from, I mean, of course, within the realm of reason. You can't take forever saying one. But, yeah, I totally got off. Oh, you were originally asking me about my favorite restaurants in Orlando. Wow.
I did it with 2 J's.
Yeah, 2 J's. Long, easy question into the longest explanation. I get off on tangents, guys. There's a reason why I talk for a living. Anyway, any other questions? Yes.
What are your favorite video games?
My favorite video games, I am classic, like to a fault. I can never, if you give me Mario Brothers, I will not complain. I love, yeah, I mean, it's a classic for a reason. But also the other day somebody asked me like my favorite character. I mean, Kingdom Hearts, that's another classic, right? It's got like Disney and then like all the other things that you would love. Oh, I remember I watched that and I didn't grow up playing Final Fantasy. I know I'm the odd one out, don't hate me.
Neither did I.
Yeah, that and like, yeah, oh, this is gonna really, please don't judge me for this one. I also didn't play Zelda. I was the person thinking that you're playing as Zelda. Yeah, and then my roommate was like, no, you're Link, not Zelda. But so when I played Kingdom Hearts, I didn't know that those other characters were Final Fantasy characters, but I was just like, who's this cloud guy? This is really cute. And then I saw that they were like, welcome to Final Fantasy. I was like, how long has this existed? I love it. But yeah, classics, Donkey Kong, love Donkey Kong.
The arcade game or country?
Arcade game. I like classic arcade games. Yep. There's a place in Dallas called Free Play, and it's adult, like, because they have drinks and stuff, but it's a massive arcade. You pay like $10, but you can play whatever. You don't have to put in coins for the machines. You can play whatever arcade games you want, and then also have like a nice beer while you're playing. It's so much fun.
What's the name of that place again?
Free Play. I don't know if they have them here in Florida,
There's one in
but
Orlando.
oh, there is.
Yeah,
Joysticks.
yeah, there's joysticks and there's player one.
Gotcha.
Better.
Player one is
Yeah, I know they have like different like versions of it in different places, but
I think in Daytona there's like a video game museum that's free play. I
really
can't remember what it's called though.
nice. Yeah, all of those.
I got to go to the Art of Video Games at the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
I even acted as something of an impromptu tour guide. I told people facts like how Sonic the Hedgehog was a hedgehog because he needed a spice for protection in case he ran into things. Or like
Aww.
how he's blue because of Sega's corporate logo.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson shoes.
What was that?
He has Michael Jackson shoes. Well, they're
Nice.
inspired by Michael Jackson.
Sonic. That's another classic. Definitely. And I have it on my, now you can like get those games on your iPad, so I have Sonic the Hedgehog on my iPad, so I'll be like playing through when I'm bored. Any other questions? Yes.
So you've clearly done some traveling. How do you like the humidity in Florida compared to the dry heat in California?
Oh gosh. Man, when I was first, so everybody will always complain about the weather that they live in, and my reaction is always, I'm a Floridian. You can't, right? Other people don't know. They do not know. Like I went to college in Tennessee, so I have ping ponged around. Like I was in Tennessee for 4 years, lived in Dallas, now in LA, but I've visited a bunch of other places as well. Every time I'm like, talk to me when it's like 110 and you just feel the sweat dripping down your back, but you're outside and you can't do anything about it. Everybody, and also, I found I have different wardrobes for different places. Like, wearing shorts, it's hot. Whether you look good in shorts or not, you're wearing the shorts. But you go to their place and they're like, those shorts are small. And it's like, I'm a Floridian. It's hot outside. I'm wearing shorts. Don't care. But I do like LA because it doesn't have that humidity. Like it has the heat. It has the palm trees. It has all the good Hispanic food. None of the humidity. If you guys haven't been to LA, I'm a little on an LA kick right now, of course, but I love it.
I've been to California twice, I'll take the dry heat there any day.
Yeah. Yeah, and because I'm so used to Florida weather, it's ruined me. I'm always cold, guys. If you have, like, I have 2 jackets on right now. Oh, I hate that. And it sucks because I want to enjoy the snow. I want to enjoy, like, I want all the seasons. But if it's Halloween and I have to have a jacket on, like, I'm used to Halloween where you're at Halloween Horror Nights and you're still dripping sweat.
Yeah.
That's Halloween for me. And Christmas, like, I want to be, that's when you have the doors open to your house and you're like letting in the outside air because it's perfect weather for Christmas time here in Orlando. I love Orlando Christmases or Florida Christmases. They're great out by the beach. But yeah, good question. Yes.
So you mentioned that you were Latina. I was just wondering, like, what exactly, because my family's Cuban. and
Yeah?
You're directly from Cuba, so I was just curious.
Nice. I am 100% Puerto Rican.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which actually does help because I'm a lazy Puerto Rican. I was born and raised here, so even though like my parents will speak to me in Spanish, I always answer back in English. But I know it well enough that if you give me a script in Spanish, I can still read it. So I can do Spanish voiceover as well, which has really helped out because in Texas, most everybody at my agency, they have a Mexican accent. I'm one of the only ones that has like a Caribbean or / neutral kind of Spanish accent, and same for California as well. So it's like a little niche thing where it's actually given me a leg up for voiceover commercial work. I've never had to do animation work in Spanish. But to be able to have like a different kind of sounding Spanish accent than most. Yeah, super proud to be Puerto Rican. Yes?
Have you ever had a, oh, I'm sorry, it's a new question.
Yes, no, I'll get you right after. Yes. Yes.
What's your favorite place that you visited so far?
Place that I visited. So I have, outside of the country, I've been to Vienna, Austria. I've been to Nicaragua. I've been to London, Paris. Where else? The Caribbean on like a cruise. I want to visit to more places. And honestly, if you would have asked me growing up, I would describe myself as an Anglophile. I grew up loving Harry Potter, so I loved the British culture, everything about it. Part of me getting into voice acting was because like my best friend and I would act like we were British and just talk to each other. And actually, I had a video game character that I booked, and I go into record, and then the director, he starts talking, and I'm like, crap. He sounds like he's straight out of Game of Thrones. He's from Yorkshire. And I got booked doing a British accent, so I'm like, I'm such a fraud. I have to fake a British accent. He's legit. Halfway through the session, though, he was super great. He's like, he said it in passing, too. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm also a dialect coach, and your accent is absolutely amazing. And I was like, he had no idea. I was sweating bullets the entire time, because I'm like, I'm a total fake and a fraud. But yeah, I would do a British accent all the time. So I was convinced after college that I went on a grand trip to London and Paris, and I thought London is gonna be my go-to. I'm gonna love it. Guys, I'm a Floridian. I went in June, and it's the coldest I've ever been in my life. And the cold there is different than the cold here. It's bone chilling. My bones were freezing. I was miserable, and I kept on just like out of shock. I kept repeating, it's June, but it's June. It's summer. It rained every day. I was miserable. And then we took a trip to Paris, and I heard, oh, Paris people, they hate, like French people hate Americans. You're gonna get people being rude to you, just accept. They were the nicest people I've ever met. And again, I took French in college, so I was trying to ask for directions, order things in French, and they would help me out. They'd be like, telling me like how best to order things. I remember getting escargot. They walked me through like how to properly have best. If you guys have not been to Paris, they say Paris is for lovers. It really was. Like, I was looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. It was amazing. Also, I love sweets. French macarons. Oh my, that's my favorite type of dessert. Favorite. And it can be any kind of, even I don't like pistachios. Give me a pistachio French macaron any day, I will chow down. And they have the best, like, even their regular desserts, like, it's not just a brownie, it's like a French patisserie brownie. It's good. If you haven't been to Paris, so definitely Paris was my number one. Yeah. You, and then I'll come back up.
What would you say was a particularly difficult role to fill in voice?
There's two that immediately come to mind. If you have seen the anime Kiss and Not Me, yeah, I love that show, and I voiced Kaiseri Numa. That was my first lead, and and it was Tia Ballard was the director, and it was her first time like fully. She had sub-directed before, but it was her first time fully directing. We're like, this is my baby, this is my show. She was also writing for the show as well. Like she put her heart and soul into that show, and since I knew it was her baby and it meant so much to her, I really wanted to do Seri Numa proud. And she's a fangirl, like there would be times where we would do a take and it's like, okay, I could tell that was a 10, let me see if you can give me a 20. And I'd be like, okay, coffee, got it, let me try. So I was constantly pushing myself as crazy as because her character is so crazy, I would do something crazy and then think, how can I go even crazier? There's gotta be a way, let me try something. And it was a lot of, and I came to find out, if you're voicing a little tip for you guys, if you're voicing a crazy character, levels is gonna be your friend. You never just wanna be like, hi, I'm crazy and I'm always right here. You wanna be, hi, I'm crazy, I'm always up here, but then I can be really low sometimes. Like, you wanna surf around the gambit, and that really adds to the insanity. So when she was fangirling, like, you would think fangirl like, oh my god, I'm gonna get more excited than her. I would take it the different direction, be like, oh my god, I really love this character. Like get like disgustingly low. And then also for Tokyo Ghoul, Kanae von Roswald. Yeah, first off, having to do German accent is hard enough, but then also she was, I was talking about earlier, like she's kind of a non-binary character, so it was unclear whether she was portrayed as like coming off as male or female, so I was trying to do like the lowest of my range, like as low as I can go, but then also she's fighting, so it's like like the entire time, and I would leave the session and be like, good session, I'm like, thank you, I'm stuck in this voice for the rest of the day, just so you know. But then also I would get some auditions and I'd be like, a gruff character, I got this. Those are the two that definitely stretched me as an actor. Yeah, good question. Yes, you had a question.
Yeah, you were gonna go to the hotel, you change for your name of it, because a lot of celebs don't like use the real name, because usually maybe a stalker or somebody try to follow you.
Have I had any crazy stalker stories or anything?
No, talk about going to the hotel, want to change maybe from a character name.
Like going to the hotel if anybody's followed me?
Yeah, no,
I
talk
haven't
about
had any
no,
of
no,
those
not talk about
experiences yet. I've been
because
lucky.
a lot of celebs don't like to use because they want to keep everything private.
Oh, yes. I am, if you meet me as a person, I am the type of person, I do kind of fly under the radar, and I pride myself on flying under the radar. I do have my, which also, if you guys want to follow me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. It's just at Jeannie Tirado. Super easy to find, except if you it's hard to spell my name, so that makes it a little bit harder. So I'll post to my Twitter and Instagram, but other than that, like, I really do keep things close to the chest. My Facebook is just for friends and family. I do use aliases sometimes, and with voice acting, it's different than on camera. A lot of us do get to have that anonymity. When like I am in Dallas, Texas, I don't have to worry about going to the grocery store and being
Mob.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about being recognized. There are a couple times where I'll go to places and I'll see somebody like wearing an Android 21 shirt, and I'm just like, but I won't say anything. Whereas there are some other actors, they'll be like, hey, do you know the voice of that person? I'm that voice. Like, you'll never catch me doing that. I'll be the person like.
Oh, I like
You like
glasses.
that? That's awesome.
I like glasses. Yeah.
I gotta go. Like, not gonna try to do anything. And also when people like, it's weird because I consider myself a fangirl myself. When people fangirl to me about other stuff, I'm like, you're fangirl. Well, I'm gonna fangirl too. Let's fangirl together. Don't fangirl about me. Let's fangirl together because I love the thing too. And half of the shows, like if you could see me in the booth, I'm pretty bad. If you guys were in my panel yesterday with Micah, I talked about how I fangirled when I first recorded, when I first met Micah Solusod. Because I had watched Soul Eater, and I had watched like a bunch of things that he was in, loved his voice, and he sounds a lot like Johnny and Bosch, of course, like they voice match for things. And I loved Johnny and Bosch because I loved Eureka 7. So when I first met him, I was like, oh my God. So, you have to hide and be like, I'm cool. Oh, you voiced that? Cool. Well, meanwhile, I'm like dying inside. But yeah, I just treat people the way I would want to be treated. When somebody is like that to me, I'm like, stop, it's just me. You don't have to do that. So when I meet somebody else that I want it, Jason Marsden, that's my childhood. My goodness, he was the voice of every teen heartthrob that every girl in the 90s was in love with. But when I'm talking, I'm just like, hey Jason, what's up? Yeah, gotta be cool about it. And I have not had I've heard many stories from people that have had stalkers and crazy things going on. Of course, you hear the stories, but thankfully, knock on wood, I have been blessed enough to really fly under the radar. I don't post about a lot of the stuff that I'm in. If I do, it's a quick announcement of, hey, I voiced this character in this, but I'm not going to go on about it. Unless I'm fangirling about the show myself, Darling and Franks, thank you very much. Yes. Yes.
Hi. What are some of the things that you do to challenge yourself at the
Ooh, good question. So when I first got started in the business, I had a lunch with Mike McFarland. He's a voice actor and director as well. He directed Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul, a bunch of things. And I asked him a similar question. I said, as an actor, what should I be doing to really push myself? And he said, if you have another job and you want to do voice acting but it's not your full-time job, give yourself an attainable goal that every week you do one thing that pushes your career, or even if it's a hobby, that pushes you forward. I reached out to somebody who does voiceover demos to get more information about it. I hit my checklist for the week, I did the one thing. Or I worked on an accent that I have not done before. If I can't do a Hispanic accent, I watched videos and I started, trying to get that accent in my head more. So that's my checklist for the week. Just push yourself for one thing. I've actually ramped it up since this is my full-time job and this is what I stake my income and everything. I try every day to have just one thing. And for me, today, it's going out, meeting people who love the shows that I'm in, and being present, being here to enjoy Metrocon with you guys. That's my one thing for the day. Check off the list. Tomorrow's going to be a different thing. So every day or every week, make an attainable goal of, I'm going to do this one thing to push myself. A lot of times it will be, I love accent work. That's just, when I get an audition and it's Scandinavian accent, I'm like, I have no idea what that is, but I am excited to try. So I will research, watch the thing. And I'm terrible, I'll use binging as an excuse, oh, it's research. And I binge watch all of, I don't know, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's research. But yeah, even that, I'll, if I'm watching a show, engage yourself when you're watching the show if you want to do voice acting. So a lot with Voltron, there were scenes that I would watch and I would, when Alora was talking, because she has a British accent as well, I would stop the scene, do the little 10 seconds back, repeat the line, and then play it and see if I can kind of do a voice match or also match the emotional intention of the line. If it was a super intense line, let me see if I can ramp up to that intensity. So I'll do it. So just engage your mind. all the time to be pushing yourself. Really, really good question. Yes.
In terms of accents, what was it like working on genocidal Oregon and doing like a?
Oh man. So I was Czech in that show. Very hard accent. I had done German before. I had done Austrian, but it's like a marriage of the two in between. And Cliff was so patient with me. There were a lot of times, and also my character is a linguist. So not only, it wasn't just a Czech accent, because he's like, if you think about it, she studied in England. So she probably, like her speaking English is more British English than American English. So I would have more British vowels within that accent, within that, Eastern European accent world. And while normally when they're previewing it in Japanese, some actors, they'll be saying the English line. I don't do that. I want to hear the Japanese actor and the way they're saying the line so that I deliver it with the same emotional intention, which you can hear in inflections. So I want to hear their inflection. But when it's an accent, during the preview, I am saying it to myself because I'm trying to get the words in my mouth. You kind of have to, and so it took twice as long recording that movie because we would have to do a take where it's, okay, you got it, you said the thing, you got it out of your mouth. So now let's go back and add more of the emotion, and now that I have the accent in my head, it just takes longer. It takes longer to record when you're doing an accent than regular, for sure. And it depends, characters are different. If there's a character that's super excited, you're gonna say the line a lot faster than you would a normal character who was, hey, I'm chill, so I'm gonna say this line slower than other people would. With accents, it just takes longer to get through a sentence. So it took more time. Yes?
You prefer watching anime subbed or dubbed?
Oh, I am dubbed all the way. I don't understand how people do subs. How do you watch the picture but then read the lines at the same time?
It helps.
It takes practice.
Wow. Not all of us are dubbed.
Hey, here's one thing, as someone who's in college, you can't study with subs. You can study with dubs.
Yes. Guys, you all need to watch dubs. This is, yes. Yeah, I mean, I never watched subs. Every time I would watch it, even if the dub wasn't that good, because not all dubs are amazing. I'll be the first one to say it. There are some dubs where, like, there was a show that I will not name names, but the main guy character, great, loved it. The main girl character, nails on a chalkboard. Oh my gosh, I could not take it. But did I watch the whole thing dubbed? Of course I did. Because I want to support like actors and stuff, so if one of the performances is good, like normally I can forgive the other ones that aren't as good. And like I said, like it's kind of annoying to be like reading the words and then also watching the picture. And if it's a really good anime, there's a lot going on in the picture. It's hard, you can't catch everything. With like Attack on Titan, how do people watch that subbed? There is so much going on in the background. You're like, did that just what? I have to go back often, even when I'm watching dubbed, to catch it all. It's good animation right there. So yeah, dubbed. Also, as a voice actor, like it's always intrigued me. Always.
It's your job.
Yeah, and that's how I knew I wanted it to be my job, because I would hear performances and be like, man, I would not have said that line in that way. And that changes I talk about intention so much with line, because that's what creates the dynamic, the relationship between the characters. And love hearing that stuff. Yes?
So, spot reading helps with reading subtitles. Also, how was it working like on fighters with like Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabat and like all of them? Like, how was like the interactions and stuff?
So I actually, when I was, for the cutscenes, I didn't really get to hear them when we were recording, because I was saying earlier, with the video game, you have the soundbite and you have to match the length of the Japanese soundbite, because we didn't even get final video from Japan when we were recording it. So they would play my soundbite, but I wouldn't get to hear the other people in the scene. It wasn't like with anime where you preview the whole scene so you hear the other people and then they add your voice to the mix. It was just my one line. And I would see on the script the other lines around it, so I could see what Goku said that I would be answering to. But I wouldn't even hear it. I would just hear the Japanese and then match that same timing. So again, anime, video game, Japanese video game voice acting, it's acting with your hands tied behind your back. Because, yeah, they have to match all the things. Yes?
Here's a fun question that actually goes on from like, you know, what we said earlier, like, what are some anime where the voice acting is clearly cheesy, but at the same time it's so good? Because I think personally, like, I think like Tenchi Muyo back in the day, if anybody watched that show, I think that's a good example of that, like good voice acting that's also cheesy.
Oh yeah, there are some really cheesy ones that are so good. I mean, if you, like Yu Yu Hakusho, see, it's a classic. If you listen to it now, you're like, this is so cheesy bad, but it's so good, you know, even like
early 90s bad though.
It's
like, wow, this is really lame and cheesy, but at the same time, like the show's fantastic and I love it.
Yeah, like us voice actors, we make fun of that, but we enjoy it so much. Like, have you guys seen like the original like Devilman Crybaby like scenes from?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, if you go around Funimation, like the actors are like quoting it to each other. Devilman, like we love it because it's like it's so kitschy, it's so adorable. Yes.
Have you heard of the Ghost Stories dub?
Oh, are you kidding me? I've seen all of it. My friends and I will be like, do you watch like really bad anime? Like just have a night. There was a night that Sally, she works at the front desk, we watched, what was it? It's an anime where she, it's her and she has like all these stepbrothers, but they all want to get with her. We watched we binged it in a night.
Brothers Conflict.
Brothers Conflict, that's it!
It's so bad.
Guys, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's so bad, it's amazing. It's so good. Yes, sorry, your question. Oh, okay. Do we have time for a quick lightning round?
9 minutes. Yeah, like 2 minutes.
Okay. We did this yesterday with Micah, and I loved it so much I'm gonna steal it from him. Quick lightning round. You ask me like quick yes or no, or favorite color, something one-word answer. I'll try to answer in one word, but let's be honest, I'm long-winded. If you guys haven't noticed. And I will, it's either truthful or not what I say, but it's just the first thing that comes to mind. All right, I'll be popcorning around. Yes?
Favorite anime this season?
Darling in the Franxx. Yes.
Do you like the Tenchi series at all?
Haven't seen enough of it to answer. What did I say? Yes.
Favorite band or musician?
Oh, right now I'm super into Charlie Puth. He's on the radio a lot. He's got a good falsetto. Yes.
Oh, Zeke? Favorite soup?
Soup, clam chowder.
Quesitos or guava pastries?
Oh, guayaba. We don't have that. I mean, we have it in LA, but in Texas, they don't even know what guava is. And they don't have Publix, so it's like they can't readily get guava. And it's like, you guys don't even know what you're missing out on. But quesitos are really good too. Yes?
Do you have a favorite moment in life or voice acting?
Moment in life or voice acting? Oh my God, wow. I'm like speechless. First time I performed in a musical ever, performing on stage, a little child gave me a blue necklace that she chewed on throughout the entire performance, but she said she wanted to do musicals because, like she wanted to perform because of me, and I still have that necklace that she gave me. Yeah, yes?
You're an Orlando native. Disney World or Universal Studios?
I would have always said Disney, but now they have Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Yeah? Oh gosh. Yes?
Hogwarts House.
Oh, Ravenclaw, all the way. 100%. Every time I've taken the test, I'm always Ravenclaw. Woo. Yes? Oh.
Okay, you need to go ahead. Pub subs, or you miss pub subs, or what was damn it.
Public subs, yes. The answer will be public subs. For sure. Yes.
Dream role that you haven't gotten yet but would like to?
Anything with Western animation. I can't announce it yet, but one day I can. Prelay kind of animation, that's what gets me going because you're not tied to flaps. You can really just delve into a character and then they'll animate to you, and that's a crazy cool feeling. So, yeah. Was there something over here before I go to the back? No? Okay, yes, back. Yes.
You mentioned that you like video games. So out of the two brothers, better, Mario or Luigi?
Mario. Sorry, I know I got the two Luigi's in here and I say Mario.
Come on, not your talent for Green Mario, come on.
Green Mario. The massive hat. Yes.
Favorite sports team?
The sports, with the sportsy sports.
No sports.
Maps? Feel the maps right now. Yes.
Favorite Studio Ghibli movie?
Oh, Howl's Moving Castle. I love Kiki's Delivery Service, but I've always really related to Sophie.
That was my favorite, so.
Yeah. Ever since I watched it, I was like, I am Sophie. I get Sophie. I love her. Yes.
Favorite horror movie?
Horror movie. Oh, I do like horror movies. The Haunting, original 1963. It's black and white and it's so grimy, the quality of the video. You're like, did I just see something? I can't tell if I just saw something, but oh my God, I hope I didn't see something. It's super scary. Yes, in the back.
And I'm so sorry for more Harry Potter questions. What's your favorite book and movie in the Harry Potter series?
Oh, favorite book, third one, favorite movie, fifth one.
Awesome.
Yeah, yes.
Favorite bad movie?
Favorite bad movie.
I asked this because
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh gosh, there's so many good bad ones. What's a good bad movie that we watch a lot? I feel bad that I think Princess Bride, because Princess Bride isn't bad. It's just good. Yeah, but you watch it so many times, like you can see the kind of like the continuity. You know, it's not perfect, but you still enjoy it. Yeah. Okay, was that it? Yes. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you. I'll see you guys at the Voice Actors Unplugged at 2:30. All of us actors are going to be there, so you can ask us all the questions. And then also, I'm going to be signing stuff in the exhibitor hall. And then if you have any questions that came to your mind and forgot to ask, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jeannie Tirado. Okay?
Yeah.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for the advice about voice acting. So basically, just get yourself out there and move to a big city like New York and
You do
California.
have to go to where the work is.
Yeah, go to where the work is. Almost all Floridian too. I was born in Lakeland.
Yeah, nice.
No, I was going to ask you about how to get into the industry, but I think it's just like you said, just get yourself out there and go to where the work is.
Yep.
Mostly.
Yep, yeah.
Oh, thanks. If you have any